After hanging out on the playground, experiencing the VR ride, and spending some time at the zoo with the animals, it was time for the main attraction, the Ark Encounter. Just a short little walk up the ramp, and we were completely immersed into the experience. So the first thing you'll notice when you enter the Ark is what you're hearing, actually. You're immersed in what it would have sounded like to be in the Ark. There's thunder, there's rain, there's creaking of the wood, and you can hear all the animals making noises and kind of scurrying around. It's really cool, and it really brings you into the experience. There are all kinds of corridors and nooks and little areas that you walk through to see all of the storage of the food and the animals. And this is where you first see the animals in their cages, and it is called Introduction to Animal Kinds. So each cage has an animal, and it has a little placard of the animal with some information about it. Really cool, all kinds of animals, probably a few that you've never heard of before. Walking down this corridor takes you to the last section of the first deck, and it has information about the Ark itself, a detailed map of the 3 levels of the Ark, a listing of all the animals that were on the Ark, as well as a model of the Ark which showed a side cutout of what the inside would have looked like. It's really cool, super detailed. Definitely spent some time here looking at all the little details of the Ark. Walking up to the second deck of the Ark, there's always a audio track that's playing through the Ark, some really cool music that just, again, keeps you locked into that experience. You're completely immersed. This section of the Ark is the pre-flood world, and it really gives you an idea of how bad we were. It's pretty crazy, all the different things that were going on at the time. Really cool depictions of different things that were happening during these times. Not the best things that were going on, but it gives you a really good understanding of how the world was before the flood. And really, God just got fed up with it. He had created us, gave us free will, and this is what we were doing, so he had to put the hammer down. After the pre-flood world exhibit, you see more animal kinds walking through the second level, and then you come up on the Noah interview theater. This was a really cool interview style video in the format of today's TV shows, but took place during the time of Noah. Excellent resting spot for the kids also.
Because God told me to build it 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, and 30 cubits tall.
The spooky animal encounters for the kids was a fun little hideaway. Cool little blacklight shows, little tunnels they could walk through. It just broke up the experience, gave them something to do for a little bit. This next section of the Ark was really cool. It talked about the mechanics of the Ark, specifically water and waste, how ventilation would have worked on the Ark so it wasn't super stuffy, and even how they were able to get light in the Ark so it wasn't always pitch black. This section of the exhibit was all about Noah, and this was his study, and then they showed you his workshop as well as his blacksmith shop, because nobody else was gonna do all the work around the Ark except for Noah. So he had to be a master of many things. The fairy tale Ark exhibit shows you that the story of the Ark wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. It wasn't about cuddly animals on a little boat floating around. It was because God was disappointed in his creation being us, and the wicked life that we were living, so he took care of it. The Ark door was really cool. We took a couple pictures there. You can see a faint outline of a cross. As you make your way to the third level of the Ark, you are greeted with the living quarters of Noah and the 7 others that occupied the Ark. Walking through the living quarters, you get a first-hand account of what life would have been like on the Ark. Cooking, cleaning, the living quarters themselves, how vegetables and produce were grown on the Ark, which is just amazing to think about. How fabrics were made for clothing. It truly is amazing that those 8 people were able to live and survive and thrive on the Ark during the Great Flood. This is the beginning of the flood geology exhibit. You're greeted by a 10-foot, 7-inch tall palm fossil, which is just awesome to look at in real life. This mural of the flood is very impressive, very detailed, and gives you a good depiction of what life would have been like as the flood was taking place. Walking through the exhibit, there is a ton of information. It's very interesting to compare the two views, a worldview and a biblical view. So much information. I am not a geologist by any means, so you really need to experience this for yourself. It talks about everything from creation and geological layers, the age of the earth, carbon dating, the Grand Canyon, tons of stuff. Just awesome information. The Ice Age exhibit goes into detail about how the Ice Age resulted from the global flood and how it affected the climate, why the Ice Age occurred, and why woolly mammoths and mastodons went extinct. The Babel exhibit explores how the Lord's command of filling the earth and scattering was disobeyed by man. Man decided to build a tower up to the heavens to make a name for themselves, and God said, "No, that's not what I asked you to do." So he confused their language, and they gave up trying to talk to each other, and they scattered. The Ancient Man exhibit is Bible's teaching that humans were created by God and were intelligent from the beginning. The evidence that ancient humans were highly intelligent and capable of great achievements is the idea that we did not evolve, but were created. This is a decommissioned Torah scroll that was donated to the museum. It's rolled out to show the complete book of Genesis and a portion of Exodus, and it's in a special display case that helps with air circulation, humidity control, and keeping insects out. And, fun fact, you have to read it from right to left. This display depicts world events from creation to the present day, all within a 6,000-year time frame. The Searching for Truth exhibit is a life-size reproduction of the graphic novel of the same name. The graphic novel clearly shows why the Bible can be trusted as God's Word, including its prophetic revelations, evidence of the supernatural, consistency over time, and the scientific and historical accuracy of the text. The artwork in this exhibit was amazing. We spent quite a lot of time here reading the graphic novel, and the boys really enjoyed it. We went to the gift shop at the end of the exhibit and we got our magnet and had a fun time just looking around. This was a one-of-a-kind experience. I highly recommend the next time you're in Kentucky, visit the Ark Encounter and you will not be disappointed.